Hello everyone. Most of you know me. My name is Tim, Dr. Tim Cadman from Griffith University, and I've been advising a lot of local groups on how to engage with forestry in preventing the destruction of our native forests in the region, and particularly to prevent the clearing of native forests inside our plantation areas. Today I want to show you about a specific area in our neighbourhood called Tuckers Knob State Forest. Inside Tuckers Knob are a number of compartments that forestry intends to log within the coming year. Some of these are plantation, but inside some of those plantations are native forest remnants, which are critical for our habitat, particularly our koalas. And I should add that Tuckers Knob is part of the Friends of Pine Creek Forest Bridge proposal. Let me begin first by turning on the state forest areas. As you can see, these are in green, and the areas that we're focusing on today are particularly this area here and this area here. So you know where we are, I'll turn on the maps that Forestry has placed on Plan Portal, its planning advisory system online. This area down here, particularly that which is delineated with the blue boundary, is proposed for logging later in the year. This is inside Tuckers Knob 39, 40, 36, 38 and 35. It's like some kind of horrible lotto. The area that some of us will be investigating shortly is this particular location, Tuckers Knob 10, 27 and 9. It's delineated in brown here on Plan Portal and is currently proposed for logging. Let me turn on the plantation area. Everything delineated here in magenta is plantation. I'll turn off the zoning in Plan Portal so you can see in a little more detail. I'm now going to turn on the aerial photograph from 1984. I'm going to also turn on the actual operational zone. So roughly this area delineated in yellow is where forestry intends to log. All plantations within state forests exist within what's called a plantable area. That is the full extent to which the plantation potentially may be established, and it is over 365,000 hectares and currently includes 35,000 hectares of hardwood plantations and a hell of a lot of softwood plantations. But when I turn on the plantable area, as you can see here, it is delineated in red. You can see that it's actually quite a lot larger than the existing plantations. One of the concerns is that forestry will simply start expanding its plantation areas outside the areas you can currently see zoned in magenta, actual plantations, and engage in conversion or clearance of the native forest for further plantation establishment. In the Tucker's Knob area that many of us are concerned about, there is a significant amount of native forest. I'll just turn on that Plan Portal screenshot again, and you can see just how much is native forest inside that red zone. The area of Tucker's Knob in question that forestry plans to log is about 200 hectares, contained in Tucker's Knob 9, Tucker's Knob 10, a little bit up here in Tucker's Knob 25, and here in Tucker's Knob 27. But most of it is in Tucker's Knob 10. Why this area is important is, apart from the fact that it is a corridor for koalas, this plantation area, believe it or not, does contain significant areas of native forest. Let me show you what I mean. I'll go back to the image again of 1984. When you zoom in close up, it's possible to see that not every area was established as plantations. There were still areas of remnant native forest even after the initial clearing for plantation establishment. This is taken from 1994. And again, you can see, yes, there are rows of plantations, but there are also areas of native forest. And some of those still exist today. And it is these that we are concerned about. I'll turn on the remnants that I have identified. You can see them in context now inside the planned logging area. This area in magenta, a little over half a hectare, was logged in 2013. There was native forest there until 2013 when it was taken. If we take the imagery back to 2004, you can see some of the logging, but you can also see this little remnant of natural forest inside the plantation. And when we go to 2010, you can see how it was taken. This is what forestry has systematically been doing over the last 20 years since the creation of the Plantation Reforestation Act. It has converted over 10,000 hectares of native forest to plantation in that time. This little piece has gone. But for those of us who are concerned about Tucker's Knob, and particularly for neighbours who were sent this ridiculous map that has absolutely no detail on it, there is still areas of concern for neighbours because of that remnant native forest. Many of us believe that plantations are a sustainable alternative to native forest logging, but they're not sustainable if, in the process of managing those plantations, forestry ends up converting areas like this, which are currently zoned for logging, into plantation. This is inside the Tucker's Knob plantation area that's currently proposed for logging. And here are a couple of forest neighbours. One of the issues of particular concern is that this area will be logged on behalf of Queensland Commodity Exporters, who are a company that sells certified timber into the Forest Stewardship Council certification system. The conversion of native forests to plantations under FSC is not permitted, and yet, as you can see in this one area delineated in red, are patches of native forest that could potentially end up into the FSC supply chain and contaminate its reputation with conversion timber. And members of the public buying what they think is plantation timber have in fact bought timber that has been directly sourced from koala habitat. I'm now going to drop a couple of pins on this map for those who want to go later and do some ground truthing to identify some of the native forest trees in this area. Going to call this Site 1. And here is the latitude and the longitude. And for those of you who are clever enough, it's not too hard. You can copy these coordinates onto Google Maps and your phone will actually be able to direct you to these locations. Thank you very much, everyone, and I appreciate your attention. If you're interested in knowing more, please join me in the Citizen Science Adopt a Plantation training that is supported by the Bob Brown Foundation. As an academic, I am providing my services free of charge to anybody in the community who is looking for help and assistance in protecting our precious plantation areas that have native forest inside them. We must protect these locations because if we want to promote plantations as a sustainable alternative to native forest logging, it must be free of conversion timber. Thank you for your attention.